The Cubs are back in the race. We tell you why they could win the NL Central right now.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show and be a part of our community here on Locked On Cubs by following on your preferred audio platform. And you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Great show for you here on a Tuesday, whenever and wherever you may be listening, before the Cubs return to action Tuesday night against the Phillies. The last 14 games for the Cubs have done so much for their season. They're 11-3 since June 9th. They entered that June 9th date 10 games under 500 and 7.5 games back first place in the NL Central. They are now 2 games under 500 and 3.5 back in what is still a wide open division. And Sam, the Cubs have done it, I would say, with legitimacy. The pillars of what we thought this team would be have now been showcased on a pretty consistent basis among this 14-game stretch. And they're in position to take this thing.
Well, first of all, they're 3 back. That's a big difference. Not 3.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thought it was 3.5, man.
No, they're 3 back of Cincy.
Did I misread that?
And they're 2.5 back of the Brat Stoppers. So who are currently winning 2-1 late, since he's currently losing 2-1 early.
Right.
Some precipitation.
At the time of the recording, yeah.
So some precipitation in the East Coast. Look, I thought about this a lot today. As usually when the Cubs don't play, it's my reflection day.
Okay,
and
I like that.
I was reflecting, and this is kind of my conclusion that I came to. Yes, it has been a up and down, roller coaster, tumultuous season so far for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Started out 12-7. Where are the playoff tickets?
Right.
Then there was a stretch where it was about 9 out of 10 of the most excruciating losses any fan could endure. Then they plateaued for a while. Then they struggled again, and then now they got white hot. And my reflection and my takeaway from my reflection was, who cares? You're 37-39. Who cares? It's not even July 1st, and you are currently, as we speak, this will change by the time people are listening to it on Tuesday, for the better or for worse. You're 3 games out. That's all that matters. Everything that you wanted out of this season is staring you right in the face. And it's been a weird journey to get here, but it's here. And you're 3 games out, and it's June 20, whatever, 7th, 8th, I don't know anymore. And it's right here. And so us as podcasters, the players as athletes, the coaches as coaches, have to have the ability to say, all right, yeah, sure. The run differential says we should be about 5-6 games better. So what? Right. If you're good enough right now, you can continue to play at this level and find yourself right in the race to the very end. Now, if you were to ask me what I think's going to happen, I really don't know. On the one hand, I think that this team is absolutely just as good as Cincinnati or Milwaukee. I firmly believe that. On the other hand, I do feel like they're not as talented as one of the 3 or 4 best run differentials or whatever it is in the NL. So I do feel like they're going to, the losses that the wins that they failed to bank in early might come back to haunt them. But I do think they're good enough to be in this race through the rest of the season.
Yeah, the losses not coming back to haunt them is an interesting position, considering how awful some of that stretch was, and just a run of single games that seemingly ended the same way every time, and it was pitiful to watch at times. But the last 14 games have been an absolute joy, and strong starting pitching, solid defense, timely hitting. Amazing that recipe over baseball over time has worked for this club as well as we thought it would over the winter time and in spring training. And the one of the larger reasons right now in terms of getting down to the projections and taking a look at the other teams and focusing on what is in front of you, I like how you put that, is that right now the every system likes the Cubs' chances too. I see that with my own eyes. I always subscribe to that first. But right now, Fangraphs has the Brewers with the best percentage chance to win the division at 47%. The Cubs are second best at 20, Reds 18. But here's the thing. The win total is completely underwhelming. They're only projected to win 82 games. Getting back to 500 is the goal right now for the Cubs. And if they go 4-2 this week, they will finish this week at 41-41, which is also conveniently the halfway point of the season. But that 82 wins for the Brewers to win the division is what stands out. The Cubs would only need to go 4 games over to finish with 82 themselves. So it really is in front of them. It really is attainable. And it's really not that big of a hill to climb.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee right now, Cincinnati, I think at some point is going to come down to earth because of their pitching. Milwaukee is concerning. They're doing what Milwaukee does. They're just surviving.
They have a good track record, though.
Yeah, and they just win close games. They just win tight games.
They're very well managed.
Yeah. They won a tight game on Sunday in Cleveland to win that series. They're currently winning a tight one late in the Big Apple. And the Cubs, I believe, have a 4-gamer coming up with them. But like I said this last week, it's not worth talking about those teams until you get back to 500. In my opinion, unless you get to 500, and we'll start really breaking down the other teams in this division. And, they have a good opportunity to go 4-2. I mean, and we'll talk about the Phillies preview, so I won't overlap, but they're facing the same 3 guys they faced.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't even realize that. That's true. And even a couple guys from last September when they swept them. So there's definitely been some familiarity there. The other thing that I was focused on before recording in terms of like a reflection that you had as well is that it's not even close in terms of the other teams having more resources than the Cubs.
Right.
You could talk about talent all you want. They don't have more resources than the Cubs. And owner Tom Ricketts said at an event over the weekend in London, quote, "Obviously we're buyers right now," close quote. And originally I was so focused on the obviously part of that. It's like, well, why is it obvious? But it is obvious. And there's 2 reasons, aside from what we all just stated here, that is. And I'm really curious to get your reaction. The new sports book opens this week at Wrigley. That's number 1. And you can only attend right now if you have a ticket to the game. And number 2, in mid-July, the direct-to-consumer marquee app is finally launching. And that's not going to be at a small price. So I think those are 2 reasons for the Cubs as well.
Yeah. I think those are great points. I don't believe anything I hear when it comes to this team so far this year. So I'm going to let it breathe. See, they're not going to be buyers if they lose 5 out of the next 6. Like I don't think people realize how important every game now is. That's why Sunday was so eye-rolling.
But people have made fun of us for that all year.
You're 2 games under. If you go 4-2 this week, you're 500. If you go 2-4, you're 4 under, and you're probably 5-6 out again, which to me is not legitimately in a pennant race. To me, when that number's under 4, you're in a division title race.
Yeah.
And so July 31st, August 1st is a full month away. So, let's let the players decide what they're going to be. My guess is they don't sell. They make some marginal acquisitions, and that's that. That'd be my guess, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about
I'm not looking at the trade market
from
yet.
now until the deadline. If they finish the All-Star break by winning 2 out of 3 against Philly, 2 out of 3 against Cleveland, they go split with Milwaukee and then win 2 out of 3 in Yankee Stadium with no Aaron Judge, we could start talking buyers.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next 13 games is certainly a big stretch. There's no doubt about that. And it starts on Tuesday, which we'll preview a little bit later. Coming up next, we talk about the Cubs' top prospect, and he's now one of the top prospects in all of baseball. We'll tell you about it next. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to the eBay Motors My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Motors. Guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. The Cubs play the Phillies at 7:05 p.m. Central Tuesday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs' hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. On the SXM app, search Cubs or tune into channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on SiriusXM. New prospects rankings released by MLB Pipeline on Monday, and Pete Crow-Armstrong has leaped up to the 10th overall spot in the sport. Cade Horton is 50th, and Ben Brown is 77th. Right now,
and Alcantara moved. He got booted.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone.
Which seems kind of crazy to me.
So it went from 4 to 3 in the top 100. Yeah. And he's been hot the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
PCA still grades out as an 80 defensively. And I didn't realize he was doing this well offensively. 280 average, 363 on base, 9 homers, 10 doubles, 4 triples, 45 runs batted in, and 19 stolen bases. That's eye-popping.
I'll just pat myself on the back for this one. Many times at first when we started this show, he was like in the 50s. I said that was a joke.
Right.
Then I remember with Lindsay, he was like 39th, and I'm like, that's criminally just underrated.
Or maybe
right?
like high 20s.
Yeah, something like that. I was just like,
yeah.
This guy's clearly a top 10 prospect, and it's just taken a while for people to see it. And to all those people that say, hey, well, they don't have an elite guy. If you have a guy that's a top 10 prospect in baseball, he's an elite guy.
He is, yeah.
PCA is an elite prospect. Now, the comp for him that I toss out there, and he's not this good, but that you would love to see would be a guy like Corbin Carroll. But But the problem is he doesn't have that type of power, and it's not close. Speed, he's got that type. He's better defensively than Carroll. But the power and just the offensive profile that Carroll has is through the roof. But he's not even a AAA yet. So if
right,
here's what it is with PCA. Say his offensive numbers one more time currently.
Yeah, so he's hitting 280 with a 363 on base, and he has 9 home runs.
Yeah, and do you have the slug there or no?
No,
I could pull that up.
It's in the 4. It's in the low 4s, I believe.
If he puts that together, if that's his slash line at the big league level from the leadoff hole, you're going to have a perennial all-star, a perennial 5.5 to 6 WAR player, and a perennial top, whatever player in baseball, because he's going to win Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
That slash line that you just mentioned is very similar to a guy like Brandon Nimmo,
Okay.
but PCA runs, Nimmo doesn't, and he's way better on defense than Nimmo.
Right.
And think about the contract Brandon Nimmo just got for just that slash line in center field.
Yeah, mega deal. Or a pretty good deal anyways, to go back to the Mets.
No, his slug's 491.
Oh, high fours then.
So that's really
Well, how many games has he played? The power tool, albeit at Double-A, 9 homers is not a small number.
53 games.
Yeah, that's a great number.
No, this slash line right here, 280, 363, 491. If he lives in that area at the big league level, you're talking about a guy that's a star. Not a superstar, but a star. When you play Gold Glove defense every day in center, you have an 854 OPS, and you are going to steal about 40 bases a year, 45 bases a year. You are a star.
Yeah.
In today's game. Now, in the 70s, 80s, 60s, it was different. Now, that is a star-level player. I would even go as far as to say that's above an all-star. So the key is just can he transition this? Can he transition this offense to the next level? And if he does, you are talking about a star center fielder for the next 10-plus years. I don't know what else there is to say.
What I still think at the minor leagues all-star break, there's a chance that he gets promoted. Just a natural break point. He just goes up to the next level out there in Des Moines. And PCA was also named Monday to the Futures game, along with BJ Murray, who was also at Double-A.
And I don't think people
a lot of power there.
I don't think people realize like PCA. Do you know, Matt? Take a guess how many minor league games he's played in his career.
Probably maybe like in the 220s, maybe?
Not even a full major league season, 160 games.
Really?
He has played 160 minor league games. And in his minor league career, he has a slash line of 306, 380, and 510. He is just 21 years of age. I would expect him at 22, he's going to be at the big leagues. And you're going to get him all the way up until his, mid to late 20s, and then you'll probably have to sign him to a big deal. But this young man is a star, and I don't think
it's exciting, and it was one of the things that determined a successful season for the franchise in 2023. I remember talking about that.
And oh, absolutely. And the thing I want to just say is a lot of times in sports, you have, and I'm just looking up a contract real quick, you have to look at these guys as assets with the type of money that they make, right?
Okay.
So I'm looking up Brandon Nimmo's contract, and the reason why I'm doing that is because the Cubs traded Javier Baez, right? And they had to, if they didn't trade him, they were going to have to give Javi a major deal. Like, what was it? Like something like $140 million. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now I would say that if PCA ends up putting together the type of seasons that Brandon Nimmo puts together, again, I don't think he's as accomplished offensively as a guy like Nimmo, but I do think he's way better defensively. Brandon Nimmo is worth, he just got an 8-year, $162 million deal. So you're going to get that type of production from PCA for nothing in arbitration.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you traded a guy that you already weren't going to sign anyway. Those are the types of business transactions that win championships.
Wow.
It's just simple. Like, and people always say, hey, Sam, you keep talking about how great the Baez deal was. PCA is not even here yet. It's obvious. He's going, knock on wood, if he stays healthy, he is
that good.
If you were to label, I say this all the time, just assets, he is the number one asset in this organization.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah.
If he has the highest trade value of anybody in the organization, right. If you mentioned him in a trade, you could get some really, really talented big league guys right now. And by the way, as great as Stroman is, as nice of a player as Dansby and Nico is, the second best asset in this organization is Cade Horton.
Yeah. It's clear how well he's doing.
And the way you determine that is just off trade value. If you call any team and you say, hey, I'm trading you PCA and Cade Horton, they're saying, oh boy, they want the face of our franchise and they want him right now.
Sure.
So that, and I'm not insinuating the Cubs do that.
No.
I'm just making a point of, hey, even though those guys aren't at the big league level yet, they're still huge, huge organizational assets.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see his development. I know that the Smokies teased a Tuesday announcement and PCA was the photo,
Yeah, I saw that.
but could it have been like the Futures game, which also was announced? I don't know.
I think it was just the Futures game.
Yeah. So
I don't think Tennessee wouldn't be the one to break.
But that already happened. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think that's God, the Brewers are going to win.
Maybe a typo.
The Brewers are going to win.
Yeah.
Devin Williams, man, I'm so tired of this guy.
Well, he's an elite guy.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, coming up next, we talk Cubs Phillies. We're back here at Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen. Cubs begin a 6-game homestand Tuesday night, starting with 3 games against the Phillies. All 3 games are at 7:05. Cubs have not announced their pitchers, but likely it's going to be Tyone, Smiley, and Hendricks, who will all be on a ton of rest. 8 days rest for Tyone and Smiley, and 7 for Hendricks. Phillies match up with Suarez, Nola, and Walker. Nick Castellanos is having an excellent campaign. Kyle Schwarber, 20 home runs. Otherwise, no one else really pops off the stat sheet right away, although the last 7 days, Brandon Marsh is hitting .588 as he is 10 for 17. Another important series, Cubs-Phillies, as the Phillies are 3 games over 500.
Dangerous game for Tyone. That's what sticks out to me. He's struggled mightily against lefties with power, and you got some real power coming from the left side with Bryce and Schwarber. I think Tuesday's game will set the tone for the series more than a normal opener would, because I just think from a Cubs perspective, I'm terrified of Tyone pitching against the Phillies, but I think the Cubs' best chance to really have a big offensive night is against Suarez, because Nola and Walker, their main weapons are what the Cubs, it feels like what their kryptonite has been this year, which is that comeback 2-seam fastball to righties, or that front hip 2-seam lefty, 2-seamer to lefties, where you just see the Cubs strike out looking on that pitch a lot, particularly Suzuki and Happ, where they just kind of just give up on that pitch, and it's easier said than done. And so that those matchups against those righties scare me a bit. And then you got Tyone. So I'm a little nervous about it.
I wonder if the Cubs view it as a tone setter for the series, if they would have Smiley pitch then Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tyone, though, on schedule.
Well, no, they haven't announced it yet.
Oh, they haven't? Okay.
No.
Okay. Because the ESPN says Tyone, but sometimes they just assume that.
Right.
Yeah, I think Smiley probably matches up better because you just get to neutralize Harper and Schwarber.
Right.
I mean, Schwarber's sitting like 1-something, but you know he's going to probably get a long ball.
Because they're all on a ton of rest, they can manipulate the order.
Well, they technically could skip Tyone.
They could.
But I don't think
they could pitch him this weekend.
Yeah. So, but they'd have to be careful.
I don't know if you want Tyone against the Brewers next week, dude.
No.
So, maybe you pitch Tyone Sunday. Can you get by waiting till Sunday?
Yeah, that's just such a long time for him not to pitch.
Yeah, that's too long.
Hopefully Stroman's healthy and that blister clears up, because I like him against Cleveland because they hit the ball on the ground a lot.
Okay.
Early contact. Like, I could see him having a really nice game against them. He's slated to pitch Saturday. And then Kyle Friday. So Steele versus the Phillies is a no-brainer.
So you think Steele could pitch Wednesday? Thursday, rather?
Yeah, right? Because he pitched Saturday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he'd be on full rest.
Right. Wow, that'd be interesting if they did that. Yeah. So that means someone would get skipped then.
Oh, you're right, because Hendricks. No, you're right. Hendricks would be due Thursday. You're right. You're right.
But they could switch it around.
Yeah, I just think that's a much better matchup for the Cubs. You get Steele in there. I mean, that really – and he pitched against Philly already earlier this year, and I think he dominated him.
All right, well, let's keep an eye on that. And usually to begin a homestand, not only does David Ross give a State of the Union, but Jed Hoyer usually speaks. So I think we're going to get a good amount of updates, maybe a roster move, and an update on Matt Mervis, who has last played Wednesday of last week. The Des Moines Register reported he has a thumb injury. So probably an update on him before Tuesday's game as well. Shout out to the everydayers who are with us all 5 episodes throughout the week. And you can become an everydayer by checking us out each and every weekday. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button for the algorithm, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on SiriusXM. So the Brewers won, and are the Reds Orioles going to get back going in Baltimore?
I think the tarp's off at Camden.
Okay, so hopefully the O's can pull that one out. Cubs Phillies on Tuesday. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On.